Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to CoreMoodz. Today I'll be talking to you about my spring TBR, books that I want to read this spring. So let's talk books. First of all, as usual, I'm going to read a non-fiction book every month. The first non-fiction that I want to read is Decolonizing the Mind by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. This book is written by a very well-established African author. It's a book where he describes how he thinks about our language and how we communicate and what words do we use and what words have an imperial or come from the colonizing entities that took over big parts of the world. What concepts, what ways of thinking, what words we use in our daily vocabulary that are linked to these entities. I've always wanted to read this book. I've attempted to read this book once before and I really want to make it a priority. So it's the first nonfiction that I'm going to try to read this spring. The next nonfiction is Perfect Victims by Mohammed Al-Kurd. And this book is about Palestinian victims in general, not just women and children, but every person that has to suffer, that is going through this pain of genocide, how the media and how people are, a victim has to be perfect, a victim has to be pitiful, a victim has to fit all these criteria to be considered a perfect victim, and how that's unfair. I think it's a very interesting topic, so I'm going to attempt to read this book. And the third nonfiction book is Dear Centurion by Akweke Emezi. I didn't know that Akweke Emezi wrote a nonfiction. I've read a couple of early reviews that were not positive, so for years I just never picked up this book. But a while ago, someone who read this book explained to me what it's about and what the focus is, how it's been written. It went back top of the list of books that I wanted to tackle because Akweke Emezi, when they write fiction, I just love their writing. So I hope that the same is the case when it comes to their nonfiction. A fantasy book that I want to tackle this spring is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. And this book is a book that I mentioned in my 26 that I want to read in 26. It's about, I think, a scholar, and in this world, it's a fantasy world. Scholars help design these games, and there are, I think, fighters or warriors or something. They fight these games under very weird circumstances. A scholar ends up having to participate in a game. I think it's a game where they fight to the death, maybe. I don't know if it's a situation where you can opt out. And I think different groups of people are fighting for the right to be the next king. I think that's what the synopsis says. A lot of people that I saw that have been reading this book have been loving it. So it's a book that I really wanted to get to. The rest of the books that I want to tackle are books that I mentioned in my 26 books video. I want to just get ahead and just read a couple of them. So there are a few titles like If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga, Ever Since We Small, A Mouthful of Salt, Visual, and Salutation Road. I also want to participate in the Blackoween Yearly Challenge by Bree from Locked Booktition. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make a separate video about it, but I just opted for talking about it in this video. For the first 3 prompts that were family member in the title, immortality, and house in the title, I read the books Cursed Daughter, I Am Medusa, and Model Home. So I'm on track. I fulfilled the first 3 prompts. And for the next 3 prompts, which are water, nature, and destination, I'm planning on reading Blood in the Water by Tiffany D. Jackson. On Sunday, she picked flowers. And The Curse of Hester Garden. Both of the last 2 books I'm probably going to read in a horror reading vlog I'm planning. And I think Blood in the Water is a YA horror by Tiffany D. Jackson. I'm not sure. So these are the 3 books that I picked. For the next 3 prompts, I don't really know about the prompts for the rest of the year. I'll have to look more into that. But I'll talk about the next batch of books, I think, in my summer TBR. I'm also planning a thriller reading vlog. And I'm planning 2 book versus movie or TV show videos. I think one is going to be focused on the adaptation of Project Hail Mary that is coming out soon. And I think I also wanted to tackle The Changeling by Victor Laval because there's also been a very interesting TV show that I really wanted to get to. So I'm going to read both books and watch both adaptations and make videos about it. I think that's everything that I have planned. What are you planning to read this spring? What are books that you are anticipating, that you really want to pick up as soon as the sun starts shining and the weather gets better? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and bye.